had officers who responded to a domestic violence call in the 5500 block of McDougal in the 7th precinct at approximately 10:40. Our injured officer and several other officers were en route to the location because initially we got a call from who we believe to be the suspect to indicate the fact that he had just assaulted his wife. Some minutes later, we then got a call indicating the fact that from another female caller, we believe to be possibly a daughter, who indicated that her dad may have been firing shots at this time. So obviously a couple cars were on their way to back up. The officer who was injured was a passenger in one of the scout cars. As they were pulling up to the location, they noticed a man outside who would appear to have a weapon. At some point, it appeared that he took a stance whereby he was ready to fire a shot. Next thing you know, they see the muzzle flash, hear the gunfire. The officers are still in the car at this point. The driver of the scout car looked over, noticed that his partner had been injured. He called out, to let everybody know that indeed we had an officer who had been shot at that point, and then he left and drove his partner directly here.
Can you give us an update on how the officer is doing tonight? So
at this point, I believe he's still in surgery. So far, he's still critical at this time. He is an almost 2-year veteran. He comes from a family of police. In fact, his father is actually an active member of the police department now.
Okay, sorry about that. First off, let's just talk about this is a difficult time for the department overall. How are you guys doing?
You're absolutely right. Very difficult. And, we've been here, so many times before, standing in this very spot. And so it just reminds us of the work that the officers do day in and day out and the sacrifices that they and their family make as we have to uphold us, as a team, as the Detroit Police Department, as a city, but certainly the family of the injured officer this evening.
I do apologize. Did you give the age of the officer?
The officer is in his 20s.
In his 20s?
Yes.
Can you confirm that his family and or father is also a current Detroit police officer?
That is correct. His dad is actually an active member of the Detroit Police Department at this time.
And was he working tonight himself?
I'm not sure at that point whether or not he was working. I'm being told no, he was not. He was not working.
Obviously, you still right now have a very active scene off East Grand Boulevard. What is the situation over there right now?
So, at this current time. At this current time, we are still at a standoff. We are in communication with the suspect. The suspect, at this time, he has gone silent. He was talking to us earlier. He's silent right now. We're going through a process where we're going to continue communicating with him to see if we can get him to come out. But we have a process where we take a step by step and decide what we're going to do to get compliance to get them out.
Assistant Chief Williams, you had communication with this individual at some point. How was that? Through a bullhorn, through a telephone, and can you elaborate on how you were communicating?
So we use a couple different techniques. The bullhorn is the best technique to use. It keeps the officers safe, and they do it from an armored vehicle. And we also use throw phones, but at this time I think we were just using a bullhorn.
Obviously, family lived in that home with him. At this point, do you believe he's in there alone? And beside the one weapon that he obviously shot the officer with, has family given you any indication that he has additional weapons in that home and a further threat to the community?
So we know that this suspect, through his family's informed us that he has a mental history. We haven't confirmed anything through any medical diagnosis, but his family informed us that he has some criminal history in his background. He has no convictions. He does have some violent charges and also some drug charges, but there have been no convictions. He is registered with several weapons. And when we put up to the location initially, and he's married and he has several children. When we put up to the location, we were able to get those children and I believe his wife out. And they confirmed to us that there was no one else inside the location.
What can you add regarding this officer? Are you guys releasing his name tonight, or you're holding off on that?
We're still holding off on his name for tonight. Make sure that all his family members are notified first and give the family that respect. And after all that takes place, at some point his name will be released.
I know it seems like an obvious question, but we've seen the brotherhood and the people coming through the hospital tonight. Can you describe that scene, that mood inside the hospital, Assistant Chief Williams?
It's somber. It's somber. We've had too many losses in our department. We've had too many injured officers. It's hard. It's a hard job, and we're doing it for the community. Sometimes people lose that perspective. So
you know, this community wraps their arms around officers in times like this. What are you asking the community for? Prayers? What exactly?
Yeah, just keep us all in their prayers. Keep the family in their prayers. Keep the officer in their prayers. And let's try and uplift everybody with this.
Is the officer married? Have children? Anything that you know?
The officer does have a 9-month-old child, and he has a living girlfriend. But we just have to keep him in our prayers.
Assistant Chief, is there anything else you want to add regarding just, your heavy heart tonight?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And I think that, as A.C. Williams indicated, that what's most important right now is to keep the family uplifted, and certainly the DPD family uplifted at this time.
All right. Just, is the chief out of town currently, which is obviously just a formality? I'm just curious.
Yeah, the chief is trying to get a flight back home. He was at a conference outside of the state, so he is actually he has a flight at this point. He has a flight, and so he'll be home as soon as he can.
All right. Anything else you guys can add regarding the situation, or to the family, or to the people in that neighborhood? How wide of an area do you have blocked off at this point?
So at this time, Deputy Chief Barron, he has control of that scene. He'll actually be releasing a short presser to describe what the scene is and what the current state is.
Do you think it's like maybe just 2 blocks around the home, or you guys unclear?
So I don't know how far the perimeter extends at this time, but it would be a minimum 2 blocks, a minimum.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Godspeed to the department.